common wild pear, Dombea rotundifolia. It's even though it's got the name pear, you don't want to really be eating the fruits. They're not very tasty. But you can eat them. It's not like they're toxic, but they're just not very tasty. I've been waiting to actually see the bride of the bush blooming, and she's definitely one of the first trees that start to bloom, and signs that spring is well and truly on its way. Although by this morning's temperatures, it feels like we're going backwards again. So it's all this low-lying mist rather than fog. Fog tends to be over waters that are closer to the coastal areas, and obviously the sea as well. Mist tends to be low-lying fog in the inland areas. Very, very quiet out here on quarantine this morning. And for those of you who maybe missed last night's drive, we did have Mike Moss sat with Mark in the Gunda. Mike's been quite a long time viewer, as some of you have been, about 3 years, and he still remembers the chats where I'm sure some of you do, where you had to sign in and only 80 to get on to watch. And it still amazes me how far the technology has come, even in that short space of time. Just when we were just doing the game drives, not even the still cameras that are every 30-second updates. Now we're just on the verge of showing you 3D safaris. Absolutely incredible. And if you haven't got your glasses now, definitely go and get them. Because with any luck, the website should be up and running very, very soon. And once the website's up, you'll be able to watch in 3D. And you don't have to have a special monitor. You can just watch through your computer screen. Hi Henry, welcome on board this morning. I hope you're well. And just wanting to know, when you hear the lions and hyenas calling at night, do the game drives ever go out, or even later on game drives, to go and look for them? And is it safe to go out at that time? Oh Henry, depends on really the reserve. Out here, I don't know if there may be 1 or 2 lodges that may do a night drive, but generally they just do the 2, the one in the morning, one in the afternoon. But there are some reserves that do offer night drives, and you can go out just after sunset. And there are some reserves where you can actually go out whenever you want. You just talk to the guide, and if everybody's in agreement, then you can maybe swap a game drive, an afternoon game drive for an evening one, or a morning one for an evening one. And it's very, very hit and miss. You can be lucky and you can see some fantastic creatures, or sometimes you can drive around and see absolutely nothing. I have had one game drive like that at night. I said to my guests, okay, let's go out and we'll do a proper night drive. So we went out just after dinner. It was about 8:30, 9 o'clock, and all we found that night was giraffe, and they disappeared fairly quickly into the bush, We were hoping to see nocturnal animals like, at that stage on that reserve, brown hyena, honey badgers, civets, genets, white-tailed mongoose, aardvark. I knew all of them were around there, and I went to the areas where they were seen. Unfortunately, that night, timing was just wrong. But then you get other nights where, as I say, you can find those creatures, and it is safe. We just made sure that someone was on the other end of the radio in case we had a breakdown. Took a cell phone with as well, just in case we were in an area that we couldn't get through via the radio. And it's more that than anything. It's more if you have a breakdown, but animal-wise, there's no difference. And we used to go out, we used to do a marathon, we would run, and we only had the one pride of lions. Didn't used to split up too much. And they would do most of the marathon on the upper escarpment, and there'd be elephants and buffalo and things like that, but not in great numbers like we have here in the Sabi Sands. We had one herd of elephants, a couple of buffalo, a couple of rhino, and they would go down this huge gorge, about 3-kilometre road through the mountains and down onto the lower escarpment where the lions were and the cheetahs were. So every year we'd have to go out and babysit the lions for a night. The rangers would usually help, and we would go out, first of all look for the lions if they hadn't been found on game drive, and you start to hear them calling. Once the sun goes down, they would start to call generally, unless they were hunting, and they would actually go and look for each other if they had split up, or they were just marking their territory, and you go and try and find where they were, and then you sit with them and make sure that they weren't going to be anywhere near the racetrack. And you'd sit with them all night, and I've had some very, very special moments. And there was one particular night, the whole pride had had a kill, just before sunset I think it was. And they'd all gorged themselves, and they're all flat cats. And we sat with them, and we used to take some food and have a bit of a picnic, because it was kind of over on dinner time as well, so we'd take a little bit of food just to keep us going through the night, kind of a midnight snack as well. And we'd go and sit with the lions. And they were completely, as I say, KO'd. There was the big male there, he was weighing in at least 280 kilos, maybe even 300 at that stage. And we were sat there for about 6 hours with them, though it was a double shift because someone had a problem with the vehicle, so we ended up sitting double shift. And for those 6 hours they didn't move. And we switched off the lights, and they were probably about 200 metres away, and it was very, very thick bush. And, if they had moved, we wouldn't have been able to catch up with them. It would have been in a very thick block. But it was quite far away from the course, so it would have been a problem, but obviously we want to keep an eye on it. And probably about 2 o'clock in the morning, you just hear this, what is that? Switch on the light, and there's the big male. His feet are twitching, and his eyes closed, and it looks like he's actually dreaming. This huge male lion, I don't know what he was doing, I don't know if he was catching something or fighting something, but it was just the oddest noise I've ever heard a lion make. It was a very, very special moment, and it kind of just dawns on you, actually animals might just dream, just like your dog does at home. And they start running with their feet, and so we didn't see his feet actually start running, but his paws were doing this, they were twitching. It was very, very funny. This huge male lion. But But you do have to be careful. Say lions, well, night time is their time for sure, and they definitely become a lot more bolder than at night, than during the day, because obviously you're not going to be able to see them as well, and they can be sat a few meters away from you and you won't know. That's why at night, generally in an area where there's lions and leopards especially, and you will get escorted by your guide to your room. Oh, hello elephant. That's a nice start this morning. Good morning to you. It's amazing. I've never seen elephants digging up roots as much as I have here. It'd be quite interesting to see the diet change as we cross over into summer. I don't know if we are really going to see them eating as many roots as they do in winter, and obviously it's a food source that they can utilise during those very, very dry months and still get enough nutrients from the roots, because that's where a lot of the nutrients are going to be stored. But during the summer you shouldn't see it as much, because obviously the nutrients are going to be in the main parts of the tree that you can see. Okay. Awesome. Good morning to you, Victoria and Jake. Glad to hear you're on board again this morning. And Jake is quite an interesting young man, and he's becoming extremely interested in the nature. But I hope you're enjoying these elephants. I wonder if they're going to come and say hello to us. I'm very interested in mongoose at this stage, I believe. I gave him a whole list the other day. Jake was asking if we had prairie marmots, and prairie dogs, and groundhogs, and anything like those animals here, and mongoose. And I gave him a whole list of mongoose that we had here, and I believe he's gone to look them all up. And I believe the dwarf mongoose is his favourite, because they can jump 3 times higher than their own body size, I believe. That was an interesting fact he looked up, if I remember rightly. And Jake, you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong there, hey? I think he's also been looking into the banded mongoose as well quite a bit, the 2 gregarious or family mongoose that spend a lot of time in families. Are you listening to me? And this elephant wants to learn about mongoose this morning. It's almost like he's sat there and he's crossed his legs. He's like, come on, carry on your story. So there you go, Jake. This elephant also is quite interested in your facts about dwarf mongoose there. Hi Donna Bush from Toronto in Canada. Welcome on board this morning. And hi Mike. Apparently Mike's in chat room. Obviously waiting to go out on game drive this morning. Mike, you can tell them the elephants are here on Gallego Shortcut. A wonderful little herd here at the moment. There's actually quite a few youngsters here. I see another one off to my right in the thick bush, but we've got a few in front of us. Everyone who wants to get in on the act this morning. Cressy Franklin just calling to my right there. Hey, little one. Young bull here. Probably about 12, maybe 15 years old. You're gonna come and play with us this morning, hey? Hey, mister. You enjoying the stories, hey? And Donna wanting to know, as soon as we had Mike on board with us yesterday, did we have to carry a weapon in case something happened? I'll say the only weapon that we really needed to carry, Donna, is our minds. And as I say, nothing really changes. We watch their behaviour, we watch it as we approach the animals, we watch it as we leave the animals, and as we're watching them as well. And you can see these elephants are very, very relaxed, going about feeding. And as I say, with the intelligence of an elephant, it's no surprising that they do come up and have a look and see what you're about and who you are, and if you're going to cause any trouble to them or not. But they definitely can pick up on what your body language is doing as well, and even just how you approach them and how you almost even put the vehicle and check this little one out. Copying Mum. And they definitely can pick up on how you feel. I think I definitely agree when people call Mark an elephant whisperer. And he's been around elephants for a very, very long time. And even just picking up on slight changes in their behaviour and his body language, I say they will pick up on that. And there are some vehicles that they'll recognise just judging by the sounds of the engine. But as far as having to carry a weapon on board, there's no point. Because you have to climb out of the vehicle to do anything, and look how close this elephant is. She's maybe 5 meters. She could be at the vehicle quicker than I could grab a rifle. And as I say, the rifles, if you use them, you have to use them to actually kill the animal. Because if you have an injured animal, then it's going to be a problem. If you shoot it into the air, the bullet could go somewhere, and it could actually hit your guest, it could hit the animal, and it could actually do a lot more damage than just a warning. But with the vehicle, you can use it, you can actually use your voice, you can just back the vehicle up, and it's a lot safer than trying to use a rifle. I mean, once you bring a rifle into play, it's quite a dangerous weapon if it's used wrong. Okay? This is beautiful. Hi, Jack. Jack in Virginia, welcome on board. I really hope you're enjoying this. Look at this baby here. And obviously the confidence of his mum is actually saying to her, you know, there's nothing to worry about here. She's feeding right next to the vehicle. She's right next to the vehicle feeding, so she's giving the baby confidence in that we're not going to do anything to her or them. So the baby can also carry on feeding. Look at that. And this is exactly what you want from the animals when you're this close, especially when they're young like this. If they learn good things from their mother, if they learn that, you know, vehicles aren't always there to cause harm, they'll pick up good habits and they'll be a lot more confident in not attacking vehicles and attacking people, because there's no reason to. The problem when you get problem animals, it's because they've been given a reason. Something has happened in their lifetime to give them a negative impact. So if you hear a horror story of an elephant attacking a vehicle, always think in the back of your mind why. What has happened in that animal's life for it to react like that? Because no animal will attack just out of spite. There is always a story behind it. And always, if you hear about these things, always think, what is the story that you're not being told? What is the reason? What is leading up to that particular instance? And Jack, that kind of leads into your question there, because you've heard elephants never forget, and you want to know if it's true and where would that have come from. And elephants have a fantastic memory. And baby elephants will take 17, 18 years before they mature, just like a human, because there's so many skills. So I'm just wanting you to actually hear. I'm just going to be quiet just for a little while they're actually breaking the branches here. Hoping you can hear, there's actually an elephant behind us as well, so listen out for him moving. That tree you heard breaking behind us is probably about 1.5 meters behind us, and this female with the calf is probably about 1 meter from the bonnet of the vehicle. Absolutely incredible. Sorry, I'm just getting lost in the moment here. But Jack, they do have extremely good memories. And they remember where to find minerals, where to find food at certain times of the year. And it could be seasonal changes over 5, 6, 7 years. And there'll be specific areas they need to remember to go to get food when certain conditions are around. And I'm just going to see if there's any vehicles actually on their way out and where these elephants are here. Any vehicles out on Game Drive, I've got a Schlamiev and Love and Gallego shortcut. So an elephant never forgets is very, very true, Jack. We really are surrounded by this herd of elephants, and they have just accepted the fact that we're here. They're all just busy uprooting trees, picking off the leaves. Young elephant with a drongo just above his head there. It really is incredible. I can actually see the dew caught on spider webs and the sunlight just hitting them right. What a fantastic moment. Hi Sandy, welcome on board to you this morning. I'm just wondering, is there any fruits around that these animals can eat? And at this time of year, unfortunately not, Sandy. You need to wait until after the rains again before the fruits are going to develop. There'll be so many fruits that these elephants can eat. And as I say, their diet will change from season to season. And obviously, as I said just before, there is so much that the baby elephants have to pick up. That's why they stay with their mother so long. And obviously, whatever she eats, the baby's going to be there and picking up what she's eating, what she's avoiding, what she's doing to find that food. You can see she's actually using her foot to dig up the roots. And the baby's going to have to learn to do that. They'll still be drinking milk, and they'll drink milk right up until the next calf comes along, which could be anywhere from 4 to 7 years. You see the baby elephant's actually trying to manipulate the branch in its mouth, but it's a little bit too long. Remember, they put the branch in the mouth and use their teeth. Hello, little one. And use their teeth to strip the branch, and they move the branch in the mouth, and that's what it's trying to do, but it's just not quite getting the hang of it. Hi Deb. I admit, this really is a fantastic moment. Look at this. I think these two are probably siblings. And Deb wants to know if my heart rate goes up being this close. I say we've got the three of them about a metre away from the vehicle here. And do I ever get frightened? I say just watching their behaviour, and as I say, I'm constantly making sure everything's okay. Because the moment could change. There could be a lion that walks through here and upsets everybody. Anything could happen. But with us, you can see she's feeding. The calves are so close to us. You know, she's so relaxed with us. The excitement is probably why my heart is going a little bit. But it's not from fear at all. It is an incredible moment. This is probably one of the best elephant sightings I've ever experienced. And just the fact that they really have just incorporated us into their herd. I mean, we are literally surrounded by them. And look at this, the female is now at the stump that was being broken behind us. She's about a metre and a half behind us now, and the calves are actually still in front of us. And if she didn't trust us, she wouldn't let the calves be this close to us without her protection. I just need to let everybody know that I'm still here. The station's interested in and love. I've got a Schlambi here on Gallego shortcut. Yeah, good morning. I'm on a handheld this morning. Just let you know I've got a Schlambi and glove here on Gallego shortcut. And so far I know there's 2 vehicles here, myself and one other vehicle.
And nothing at all.
Just going to pull forward a little bit. Let's see if we can get this little one. Okay there? Is that okay there? Should have a look at those, this guy's moving. Hi Dara. Welcome on board to you this morning. And you just want to know, when the elephants have their ears out, does it mean anything? Are they... I forget which word that you use, but are they threatened in any way? Stressed, that's it. And it depends on the situation, Dara, because they will use their ears to actually shed heat, especially in the heat of the day. But they will also flap the ears, because they can pump about 12 litres of blood into those ears every minute, and they've got somewhere around 400 litres of blood in their body. They can pump the 12 litres in those ears, flap their ears, and actually shed about 3 degrees of heat, which is actually quite a lot if you think about it. But that flapping of the ears can also mean a warning. But again, it just really does depend on the situation. When their ears are open, it can mean a sign of intimidation, but it depends on what else they're doing. Sometimes I've seen they've just got their ears open, again just to hold them out, just to allow air to circulate over them. And that's why they do flap their ears, is to actually allow the air to move over the ears more, and it obviously takes the heat away. And they can do the head weaving, they can sort of bob the head and shake the ears. That can also be a sign of intimidation. And the reason being it's to make themselves look bigger. So if the ears are out, they definitely look a lot more intimidating than if the ears are flapped. But if an elephant is going to come and charge at you, they'll have their ears flat against their body. And that's a full charge. And if you ever have an elephant charging towards you with the ears flat and the trunk held low and very, very quiet, that means that it's coming for you, and you need to get out of the way. And if you're not able to do that, you need to stand your ground. But you do have a big problem on your hands if ever you do see that. But when they have the signs of intimidation with their ears out and head weaving and flapping, you may even get them throwing a bit of vegetation at you. And trumpeting and being very loud, it's still warnings. And they may even start moving towards you, but if their ears are out, they're still not intending to follow through that charge. But at any point in that, those ears could go flat. And they could go from a warning into a full-on charge. And those are signs that you have to look for, and you have to continue looking. And as I say, there could be something that upsets them even now. Whether it be a vehicle, whether it be an animal, something could upset them, and that's why it's important just to keep a check on what is going on around us. And to make sure that you're never trapped. But as I say, with her being so close to the vehicle, we saw that she had her ears out a little bit just as she stood next to us at one stage. But then she soon sort of put them back. I don't know if it was that we moved or she just didn't like the look of the camera there. It was quite large when she stood next to it. Could have just felt a little bit intimidated by the size of the camera, and that's why her ears were out a little bit. But I wouldn't say stressed at all. She wasn't stressed, it was just kind of, Just put her ears out, and then decided actually she doesn't need to bother. Puts them back, and she carries on feeding, but all through that she was carrying on feeding. So that's why I wasn't too bothered about what she was putting her ears out for. But if she'd stopped feeding and was really quite focused on us, then I'd be thinking, okay, what are you going to be doing next, madam? Hi Dave, welcome on board this morning. I hope you're doing well. And you just want to know, at what age do baby elephants gain full control of their trunks? I think it depends on the individual really, Dave, just like humans. And you can say, a child starts speaking at a certain age or starts walking at a certain age. But for every individual it is different. It depends on their learning capabilities. And I believe elephants are exactly the same. But I'd certainly say, oops. Shame. I don't know if you just caught that, Alex, but the baby was just stood a little bit too close, and the female actually put her foot out. And the baby just got a little bit knocked, completely by accident. I don't think she actually really meant it, but she just knocked the baby a bit. The baby just kind of stood there. What just happened? But as I say, it just depends on the individual, but I think certainly within the first couple of months they should have gained that control. And obviously it's just like an extra limb. And if you notice, they don't use it for drinking the milk. They curl the trunk back and actually suckle directly through their mouth. And I think there was one email that came through a while ago that said someone had seen an older calf actually trying to take milk through the trunk. And I've been trying to find out a bit more about that and just see if that is normal. And there's nothing in the literature that I've found so far to say that that's normal. I haven't observed it myself. I keep meaning to ask Mark actually to see if he's observed it. It's quite a curious curious thing to have seen. And so you can see the baby is there every step of the way with this female. You can see getting its trunk in there, obviously be smelling what type of tree it is, be tasting it as well, tasting the roots, and basically just picking up exactly what she's doing. Was there any other stations interested in the Inglov? I've got 3 movers with the Inglov on Glego shortcut at the moment. Hi Cindy, good morning to you. I'm just wanting to know how old is the baby Ellie. I've actually been trying to work that one out, Cindy, because the female is certainly letting the baby go quite far by itself, and judging by its size, it's not young, but it doesn't have any tusks yet, so I'm just wondering if it's an individual that isn't going to be growing tusks. Because usually you should start to see the tusks by about 2 to 3 years old. It certainly looks older than 2 to 3 to me. It's looking more like a 5-year-old. So just going off the size, it certainly looks older. But I do wonder if it's not going to grow any tusks. They'll grow their first set of tusks in the first year, and they'll get replaced after about 1.5 years, 2 years. And the first set you don't see, they stay covered. And after that, you should start to grow. And they do have 6 sets of teeth throughout their life. Obviously the tusks that you see, then you have the 2 sets. So once the first set, the baby tusks, the milk tusks fall out, the second set will grow and continually growing throughout their life. And that's the incisors. It would be the equivalent of our front teeth. And then the molars at the back are the grinding teeth, and they are what do a lot of the work, and that's why they do wear down, and that's why they do need 6 sets of teeth throughout their life. And you can see that head shaking, the ears out, and even that foot. She was actually using her foot, almost rocking. All those signs are just intimidation signs there. But again, not too bothered. She's not too stressed. She's turned her back and now she knows that there's no problem. But just giving a quick reminder, I think. And if anybody is just tuning in, we're joining a live game drive here from Djuma Game Reserve in South Africa. And we're joined by a herd of elephants this morning who have been with us pretty much since the start of drive, and it's just been absolutely magical so far. We've had the cow and her calf, who's in shot at the moment about a metre and a half away from the vehicle feeding. And it's been absolutely amazing. We've just been completely surrounded by elephants. And I'm going to be your guide for the next couple of hours. My name's Tara, and we have Alex joining me on the Gunda behind the 3D camera this morning, and Herman in Final Control. And if you do have any questions, just send them through to Final Control at safari.tv. And we have been streaming in 3D, although we just need the website to be up and running. But for our tests, just to make sure the streaming is working, all is looking good. And hopefully once the website is up, you'll be able to join us not only on a safari, but a 3D safari. As I say, I've been watching the clips that have been put together, and I hope you've been watching the diary, so it kind of gives you an idea of what you're going to be expecting. And for those of you who don't want to watch 3D, you can still watch in 2D. On the new website you'll have a choice, and you also have a choice of which glasses you have as well. And you'll be able to click on that and you'll be able to view. And if you still want to take your pictures in 2D, then you can just revert back to the 2D and take your pictures from there. I've just got to move out the road. The Texans wanting to come through here. Oops. Last look at the elephants on the road, and then try and make a way. Sorry, I need to go back a bit further. Try and make a way to where we think the hyenas might be denning. Good morning, standing by.
Yeah, tell your headlights are on.
Thank you so much.
Grab up. Good, thanks. Well, with... Yeah, go. 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 Go.
Sorry, just listening to the radio there a little bit. So, welcome on board to you, Richard. And just asking about the food. It's becoming scarce, and are they going to be getting enough? And what are they going to be eating? And Richard, as I say, their diet does change throughout the year depending on what is available. As I say, when we go into the rainy season, obviously there's going to be a lot of green leaves for them to eat, a lot of berries for them to eat. And they'll actually change the routine to go to specific marula trees to go and eat the fruits of the marulas. But obviously during this time of year, there's very few leaves that are available, so they have to be looking elsewhere, and I've certainly noticed them feeding on roots a lot more, and obviously during the winter time that's where a lot of the nutrients are going to be stored. So it'll be quite interesting to see if they stop digging up roots as much during the summer. I don't think they'll need to dig up really as many trees, because there should be enough food available, and as I say, even the bark of the tree, there's going to be more nutrients as the tree is growing. Got another one coming up to see us again. Okay. Hi Elizabeth. Great to hear you're enjoying the elephants as much as I am, and I'm sure everybody else is enjoying them. And you're right, it really is incredible to have them this close. And you're just wanting to know, have we studied their behaviour specifically, because you've not seen other guides get us this close. And as I say, they do pick up on your intentions, I think. So they're an incredibly intelligent animal. So brain size to body ratio, they've got one of the largest brains in the animal world, including our own. Elephants, apes, dolphins, obviously humans included in the primates. Brain size to body ratio is among the largest, and that obviously allows for learning and for all other behaviour and intelligence that I think, you know, we still don't completely understand. Communication, all those sorts of things. And as I say, I really do believe they pick up on your intentions, they pick up on your body language, and even how you place the vehicle, how you approach them, it all makes a difference to their behaviour and to how they will accept you. And this herd really has just accepted us. It is incredible. We've had the whole herd just around us. We've actually been part of the herd this morning. And it really has been incredible. I mean, having that female with the calf, and even this little individual here now is about 1.5 meters, 2 meters again away from the vehicle. Now you can see, just not minding us at all. And we had the young bull come up, and it was almost as if he was listening to me talking about Jake and his mongoose. He crossed his legs, and you know, if he could have had a longer stick, I'm sure he would have leant on it. Very, very comical. But as I say, behaviour-wise, you kind of do get taught to a certain degree, obviously the more dangerous behaviours to watch out for, but it's actually being with them and spending time with them and just picking up on little bits of behaviour that you really, start to understand them a lot more. And I think that's how Mark is really, as I say, he's been nicknamed the Elephant Whisperer, and I definitely believe that. And they do seem to communicate with him, and he seems to be able to communicate with them. And you're going to push that tree right onto us. And sorry, just to I think that's another part of that question. Do I think this is the same herd as what we have seen a little while ago? It could be. I think there's a few herds in the area, but they do move over quite considerable distances, especially in such a food, and especially this time of year. So I don't recognise them. I don't remember seeing as many youngsters, but maybe Mark has been with this herd. I didn't recognise any distinguishing features on the female that we were next to, and that's one of the ways you can actually tell individuals. Let's say if you're seeing a particular herd every so often, then you will start to pick up on individuals. Let's say it's so difficult to see what size herd this is as well, but it could be one that we've seen before, and that's possibly another reason why they are relaxed around us, and they know our engine noise and know what we smell like and who we are, and know that we're not wanting to threaten them at all. There's a youngster in the road that's just got a fright by a fork-tailed drongo, I think. Okay. Hi Tony. Quite an interesting question you got there. Tony wants to know what I'd do if an elephant came right up to me and touched my face with its trunk. How would I react? Thinks it would be absolutely amazing. Well, I think it would be, Tony, for sure. I think words probably would not be able to describe it. And I'm thinking if an elephant did that, there's going to be a lot of trust from that elephant and me. And I think, yeah, I've heard of it happening. I've heard of it happening a couple of times, and it actually makes me wonder, because there was a lady, and apparently she was sat at the back of the vehicle, and one of the elephants came up on my old reserve. One of the elephants came up and was actually sniffing. She didn't actually touch her, but she was sniffing all around her, and the trunk was in a few centimetres of her. And apparently, say the guide had never seen it. It wasn't on my vehicle. The guide had never seen it before. But the lady did actually say that she had something medically wrong with her. And I wonder if that elephant was actually picking up on that, and maybe even picking up on her pain. And it has made me wonder if that's another part of elephants that, that, as I say, going back to the intelligence and the brain size, and maybe they are able to sense these things. And I've heard of dogs also being able to do that, and they can actually pinpoint where somebody has something wrong with them, and even if the person doesn't know. And they've actually almost predicted it, or not predicted it, but actually found the problem. And I wonder if elephants are capable of it. When I heard that story, and apparently it was something in her head, I can't remember what it was, but there was something in that area that the elephant was concentrating sniffing around that area, and there was the problem there. Absolutely incredible when I heard about it. And that same elephant did something to another person, the same sort of scenario. But I never found out if that person also had something medically wrong, but it would have been quite interesting to find out. As I say, there is so much about animals we've got yet to learn. But to tell you the truth, Tony, I don't know how I'd react. It's one of those instances, until you're in that situation, yeah, you can't really say for sure, but I think it would be absolutely awesome. And obviously it would depend on how the elephant approached as well, but if an elephant was coming out and using its trunk to touch your face, it would certainly be sort of moving towards you in a friendly way rather than obviously an aggressive way. Okay. Hi, Jack, from Virginia again. And you've got me a little bit confused, Jack. I'm just having a look. You're saying, or you're asking what the red bush is. And, so it was a little while ago, so it could have been when we were pointing forward, because it's actually a tree that's got a lot of red leaves, and that's possibly what you're asking about. You're asking about a red bush, and what is it? So I think it's the tree. Actually, I'll see if we can stop by it when we do drive off in a short while. And it looks like it's one of the bush willows, Jack. I'll see if we can stop by and have a closer look. But there's a lot of bush willows in this area with the large, what we call simple leaves. Well, what we can do is maybe continue on and have a look around the termite mound. We'll see if we can have a look for the den site, and if we don't find anything, maybe come back or continue on, depending on what happens. We'll see if the elephants are still around a little bit later on. I say, it's just been so nice just to sit with them and actually watch them feeding. I think it's actually the bush willows, Jack, that the elephants are uprooting. I just wonder if it's this tree that you were seeing. This is definitely a bush willow. Probably a large fruited or a red bush willow. I just had a quick look, make sure there was no elephants that were watching me. They're all quite far back and had their bodies turned. Just to pick up a leaf from the ground, and I don't know, that's probably those leaves on there, hey? Yeah, it looks like it's not a large fruity bush willow because the seed is too small, so probably a red bush willow. But generally the red bush willows have a slight, obviously the tip's fallen off, but the tip is slightly turned about 90 degrees, and that's usually how you can tell a red bush willow. And the size of the seeds make it definitely not a large fruited bush willow. Large fruited bush willows, the seeds are probably about that big. So huge difference there. Russet, these leaves are much smaller. So, red bush willow, you can't really go off of obviously the colour of the leaf, especially during the summer, because it is green. It does turn red this time of year, but some of the other combretums also turn red. But we should continue on. Have to wait for my green light. Gunder's gone cold. Okay. Hi Henry. Wondering how good an elephant's sense of smell is compared to other animals. Well, it's actually relying more heavily on its sense of smell and hearing rather than its eyesight. Its eyesight's quite poor. I think that's partly one of the reasons why they do come up so close sometimes, just to actually have a look at you. But you'll see if they're not too sure, they bring the trunk up and smell. And I think compared to, say, like a predator, I don't think it will be as good as the predators, but it's quite difficult to say for sure. But I'd say pretty good, because they do use it obviously to detect the foods as well as the smells from predators and things like that. But having said that, it is quite a large animal, so it doesn't really have many predators to worry about. Lions, obviously, for the babies. Just to make sure. A lot of hyena tracks here as well. Maybe hyenas. It might be able to go for a baby elephant that was all alone. Quite possibly. But otherwise, a fully grown adult doesn't really need to worry about anything. So it wouldn't really need to have a very good sense of smell in that regard to detect predators like the antelope would have to. Say a lot of predators using their sense of smell to find prey, especially at night, as well as their hearing. But obviously their eyesight is going to be a lot more keener as well. So Jack. What's Jack? I'm not entirely sure where it fits in the whole scheme of things. That's my thoughts on it. Okay. This is the termite man by the looks of it. Have a little drive around here, just in this little area, just to see if we can find anything. This is the termite mound where Yambili Ordan was sitting on top of last night. Any stations interested, left the Slammy open lock on the Lego shortcut. Looking out for any sign of movement. The reason why we think there was possibly a hyena den is there was a hyena that came to the area after the leopard left. Greg. A little bit closer to this termite man, just see if there's anything around here. Get through this gap here, I think. Okay. Hi Sharon, welcome on board. Great to hear that you're joining us all the way from Japan. I think that's a new country I've not had or heard that I've had on board. So thank you very much for letting us know where you're from. It's always great to hear where you guys are from. It's always so interesting to hear how far and wide people actually watch from. And it's great to hear you're able to join us, and even your husband joins you at the weekend, which is absolutely awesome. I'm wondering if you're also waiting to watch in 3D. I'm just finding a little tree stump there to get a better angle on it. And just wanting to know how many bird species can be found at Juma. I think it's quite... I think we have been asked that before, and I remember someone actually looking it up for me. Mark, I think it was actually asked when Mark was driving. And I actually do forget the exact amount, I didn't write it down. I actually need to write numbers down sometimes, but it's somewhere over the 400 mark, I believe. Maybe someone can actually look it up for us. Let's turn off here and just see if we keep quiet, maybe we might just get some movement. But I know in Kruger I think it's around the 500 mark. So if anybody can look up the exact number of birds that should be found here, I'd be very grateful, and I'll see if I can actually write it down and remember it next time. So hopefully Sharon will be able to get an answer to your question by the end of the drive. Actually, apparently the hyena actually came onto the termite mound, but I'm not too sure, just from the description last night, I'm not entirely sure where it went from the termite mound. It was somewhere around here. I haven't seen a hole here, but I don't want to go out and scratch around just in case there are pups there. I don't want to put our scent and disturb them too much. But as I say, I can't see anything from this side. I'm just hoping maybe with the noise of the engine off, if they're anywhere just hiding here, they might just pop out. Okay, I think we have a question coming through. Hi Sunshine Flower, great to have you on board again. Just wanting to know what language we use on the radios. And it's obviously English mixed in with some Shungan, and that's the local language around here. But there's about 11 official languages in South Africa. And where I used to work, that was Sepedi, a little bit different. But we also used to use Zulu and Tsonga for our road names and animals. And it's just to avoid disappointment, so we use the Shungan names for the animals, and obviously the road names as well we use, because it sounds nicer as well, I think. But we use different road names and named after people and named after animals, or maybe there's something that's a dominant feature of that area. But with the animals, it's to avoid disappointment, so if there's guests who've never been on safari before, if they heard that there was a lion called in, but they don't understand how far the distances are and how sometimes if you aren't able to get to that sighting because of the distance, or if the animal gets lost, then it builds up a lot of hope and then it can be shattered. So we rather use names that aren't necessarily understood by especially new time people on safari, because they don't always understand how the nature works and how the area works. But once you've been here a few times, or you've been on a few safaris, you start to understand, and also you start to learn the animal names as well. But then you do understand, okay, it's not always possible to get to those animals. So it's kind of a bit of a learning curve there as well. But that's why we use the different names. Oh, it looks very quiet here at the moment. I'll continue on a little bit further around.
Are you there yet? number 7, number 7.
I'm not seeing a hole here at all. I was hoping to actually see if there is a hyena den around here, little pups at the entrance or just around. But I think we're going to have to keep coming back to this area. Especially if we do see a hyena in the area, it would be worth actually following. So there is certainly hyena tracks coming in again. I'm just checking all the way along here just to see if there is any movement elsewhere. I'll turn around and go back down as well. So it'd be so nice if there was some hyena pups. Nice to actually be able to see their development. Okay, well, there's some hyena dung just here. I'll try and get it on camera. Don't worry folks, I'm not going to go and pick this one up. I think all of you know my obsession with animal dung by now. But don't often see that one. And you would normally expect to see at least a few droppings. They do use middens. But the white definitely gives it away. Although sometimes lions and leopards may also have white dung. Occasionally, it's not always. But it just depends on how much bone they've eaten. And remember, the hyenas eat a lot of bone. So they have a lot of calcium, and obviously the white, or the calcium, if they have an overload, it needs to be excreted, and that's why their dung is so white, because of the high calcium content. But again, if lions have had maybe an impala or something like that, they'll be able to also eat the softer bone. And that's why sometimes their dung will also come out white. But as I say, it's not the norm for lions or leopards, but you always need to think, just to double check sometimes that it isn't one of those. But also by the size, you can see it's quite large, that's why I wanted to put my hand next to it so you can get a size comparison. And leopard dung is a lot thinner than that. Okay, I'm just going to turn around and we'll go back and just see if there is any movement as we continue on. Cool, thanks Rosie. Sarsaparilla. Yeah. And sarsaparilla is just coming back saying there's around 850 species of birds in South Africa. Thanks for that one, SAST. I wonder if anybody's been able to find out how many's in Sabi Sands. Say there's a lot, it's a little bit warmer now, there's a lot of coastal birds that we won't get here, a lot of birds that are found in the fynbos in the south that we don't get here, sugar birds we don't get here, we have to go down to the Cape to see those. And some of the birds that you find in the Karoo that you don't find here. The Nama Karoo, the succulent Karoo being in the in the west of the country. And then in the forest, so it's slightly shy of 400, 350. Thanks Barbie. 350 species in the Sabi Sands. So I'm going to have to try and remember that number. Say me in numbers, especially if I don't use them, I always forget them. Henry, come in. Good morning, Henry. I didn't quite copy where they buggered some Ngala. Which dam was it on? Copy, thank you. Do you know which Ngala they were?
I'm not really sure. It's Graham and they're just on lock now.
Copy, thank you.
Is that it?
That's where they came out from looking for Yambidi or Dan yesterday. Very, very shy male leopard. Looks like he is the father of Nishu and Induna. So judging by all the interactions that have been having with them and Karula recently. And as soon as the second vehicle tried to join Mark last night, that's it, he was off the termite mound and gone. He was actually looking quite interested in the wildebeest at that stage. Shelly's Frankfurt. Call again. Just heard it off. It's a call you don't often hear. As soon as I start the car, it's going to stop. Hopefully you can hear that. And it actually sounds like it's saying, "I'll drink your beer." Oh, is it too far away? Let me just see if we can go onto that part of the road. We might be able to see if we can park next to it. Sorry, were you saying yes you did or no you didn't? Oh, you did. Okay, cool. Awesome. There it goes again. Shelley's Franklin says, I drink your beer. I'll drink your beer. So the Franklins all sound very similar until you start putting words to it, and then it starts to help you distinguish between the calls. Beautiful little Franklin, lots of different colours on it. One that you don't see very often. I haven't seen it here yet. Hyenas walking down here as well. Start calling now. I bet it's going to be quiet now. Good morning. How are you?
Good, and you?
Good, thank you. Hello, everybody. So.
I mean, Alex, they're okay on camera.
Are you guys okay?
Yeah.
Yeah? Cool. Can we get Mike on camera? Mike's on the other vehicle, everybody. There you go. And these lovely people, we joined them last night at the lodge.
Yeah.
And Henry.
It was a great dinner.
It was very nice.
Especially the chocolate mousse.
Yeah. Very, very rich. I couldn't finish mine. So, has there been anything else? Have you seen the elephants?
No.
Not yet.
You saw the elephants.
Yes, we saw the elephants.
You know, I got up at 6 and watched your game drive.
I think you're a little bit addicted there then.
Really?
Yeah.
Now,
No, it's great to hear.
When you showed this one here?
You are live. Yeah. So we basically doing what you guys are doing and driving around looking for animals. But I've got quite a number of people with me. I think I'm not too sure what the count is. -1 because Mike is here. So.
Well, I'm with you right now.
Oh yes, you're with us right now. So +1 for now.
There was like 530 people in the ZAP yesterday.
Yeah, that was yesterday. So I don't know how many is today, but I have a lady called Sharon from Japan watching at the moment. So yeah, it's quite amazing. So if you want to say hi, you can do.
Have you seen any cats yet?
Not yet.
We
No,
would
we're still
love to
looking.
see a cheetah.
So,
Find us a cheetah, Tara.
oh, I'd love to. I'm sure everybody back watching is also saying, yes, find a cheetah. We were trying to look actually for the hyena. So I don't know. So I heard that the hyena went to the termite mound where Jan Bibi Dam was sitting.
Yep.
Where?
Far south from where I was sitting.
Oh, is it far south? Oh, okay.
And Graham said, yeah, this morning he was there. Said, yeah, he saw them, but they're gone into.
We're going to the hole. Is it actually on the termite mound?
Yeah.
Because we were sat there and we couldn't see them. So.
Yeah, you can just follow me. I will show you.
Oh, okay, cool.
And yeah, then I just want to.
The picture's very, very
go
pretty.
and see Jangala that side.
Yeah.
If it's still there.
Cool. Awesome. Awesome. Sorry?
The leopard?
Uh-huh.
Yesterday?
Uh-huh.
Not the deer from the radio.
No, he went south. Yeah. I'm actually going to be going that way myself because we can't go that way, so yeah. Alrighty.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, I'll see if I can, yeah, just to make sure where it is. Awesome. Okay. Very funny, Heather. Rolling Stone doesn't gather any moss. It's great to see someone that you know. That is awesome. It's great to have Mike with us. And he definitely enjoyed his game drive last night. I'm actually just turning around because Henry was saying Graham did see some of the young, but then they went back into the hole. So I just want to find where that hole is. So we were right, we were there, so it just looks like the pups didn't want to come out and see us, unfortunately. Hi Donald, welcome on board to you this morning, and commenting on how we all seem to enjoy the Franklins. I think it's the fact that they're just so loud, you have to know their calls, and with them being so loud everybody hears them, so like, oh, what's that call, what's that call? And when you get asked that question so often, it's almost, when you hear it, you need to, it's almost like you don't need to hear the question anymore, you just know that people are interested in knowing what it is. So that's why we always discuss them, I think. But just asking, are the Franklins similar to your Californian quail? And we actually do have our own quails. We have the button quail. It's actually one that we should find here, I believe. But I've yet to actually see a quail out here. I've seen one in Madikwe, seen a few in Madikwe, but here I've not seen. I think they are separate families as well. Let's see. There he is. Okay, so we might have been at a different termite mound. That will be why then. Yeah, he's heading off quite far. Yeah, I've got your visual.
Just follow me behind.
Thank you. Oh, he is actually going a bit further. So judging by the way they were talking last night, it sounded like it was actually this termite mound. And I couldn't understand why I couldn't see a hole. Okay, maybe the grass is all covered. we might have been able to fit through. But apparently not. Wow, it's actually quite far down, that's why we missed it then. And that might account for why there is tracks coming out that side there. I thought they were just tracks coming out from where they lost Yambili yesterday. Just trailed a few down there. We're going to fit through this or not? I don't think so. Yeah? Okay. Ah, I can see a hyena up ahead. We are actually quite far down there, so we went in the right place. Right termite mound for the leopard. Mike taking a picture of us. I hope someone got a picture of Mike taking a picture of us. Can you see her through there or not? Let's bring that. Thanks, Henry. More in the area. Oh, okay. Aha, okay. Henry's going to be pulling out. Yeah, I was actually pulling back to try and get a view through the trees to the hyena, but it looks like Henry's going to be pulling out. So she's just actually just sitting to the right here. Unfortunately, my plan was to pull back and try and have a look through here, but it looks like my plan didn't work, 'cause there's actually a torchwood just in front of the hyena where I thought we'd get a clear view. I'm just switching off and letting Henry move, just so that we don't have too many vehicles moving around, and then once he moves, I'll move to where he is.
Alright. Okay.
No, I'm going to move to where he is. I'm just waiting for Henry to pull out. Especially if they've got young, it's very important not to disturb them too much. So that was actually quite lucky bumping into him. Hey lady. And what I am hoping is maybe if there's no more movement now, if we sit here a little while, we might actually have a chance to see the hyena pups. Apparently Graham just saw them this morning. So the guys must have followed the leopard down here, and this was the termite mound they were talking about after he left, that the hyena actually came and checked that everything was alright. Okay? Hi Joe, welcome on board this morning. Just wanting to know what the dominancy is in hyenas. Is it males or females? That are the most dominant? And it's actually the females, Joe. They are matriarchal society. So the females are very much in charge. And it's actually thought that one of the reasons why the females are actually larger than males, and they have what's called a pseudo-penis. And they actually do look like they have a penis, although there's a few differences from the males. But it's thought that they have a lot of testosterone. And that's why they've actually got this appendage that looks like a male's penis because of the increased testosterone levels. And it's thought that the reason behind it is that the females need to be big and strong and dominate or outcompete the males for the food to make sure that they have enough food for themselves, and obviously to be able to care for their pups. And it seems to be that's what it possibly boils down to. And the males are very, very wary when it comes to females. Even when they're starting to mate, the males will actually bow to a female and he will take his time approaching her. And they'll actually be very, very submissive. And even at kills, the females, the most dominant females, will go in and have their food. They'll feed first, and they may or may not allow the subordinates to eat. And she keeps looking down into the hole. I think the pups are actually wanting to come out. There's a lilac-breasted roller calling in the tree behind us. But she's enjoying the warmth from the sun for sure. Someone once asked me about siblicide as well. The offspring actively kill each other. And it doesn't really happen that they kill each other, but one may outcompete the other one. And the strongest one will get to the nipples first, and they'll drink first, and the other one will then take the second position at the back of the legs, between the legs. And if for whatever reason, if there's only one nipple that's working, the most dominant one will gain access to that and actually keep the subordinate one out of the way. So it may happen that it starves, but it's not sort of actively biting it and actually killing it like you do get maybe in other animals. I'm really hoping if we do sit here a little while, she may just become relaxed enough for us to be here, that she may allow the cubs to come out, the pups to come out. Especially if they do have pups, and especially if they're very small, they're going to be very protective over them. And if there's too much movement, then they can be very, very protective and, let's say, keep those pups hidden. I was asked a few days ago by Cheryl, actually, just to comment on animal intelligence, and she sent me through the article that she had read. It was quite an interesting article. It was a lot to do with a gorilla, actually, and a gorilla being able to talk through pointing at cards, and actually he was able to give sentences as well. And it was actually talking about an experiment done with hyena intelligence as well, and I remember reading about that experiment, in that hyenas will go and forage by themselves, but if they are deciding to go and hunt, they'll actually go and hunt for zebra and wildebeest, and they might even walk past wildebeest if they've decided that they're going to go for zebra. Walk past wildebeest ignore wildebeest and actually go and hunt for zebra. So they will actually cooperate, but as soon as the hunt's done, then it's kind of the hierarchy again. It's almost selfish in that sense, depending on how much food is available. But what they found with the experiments, so I'm not wanting to speak too loud because of the hyena. I want to try and keep her relaxed. But there was an experiment where 2 hyenas were in an enclosure, and the way that they had to get food was to pull a piece of string, and the other one had to press a footplate, and they could only get the food if both worked together. And I'm not too sure what they were expecting, but apparently the hyenas actually completed it very, very quickly. They actually worked out that they had to work together to get it. So that immediately says something about the intelligence of the hyena, and obviously the cooperation of the hyena. And it started getting very interesting. And as they're going back to the dominance thing, the females are very much the dominant sex, and the ranking is very, very important in hyena society. And you will actually get the sub-adults, or the subordinates, sorry, going to an adult and basically bowing down to them, or the dominant, and actually bowing down to them, and actually they'll go up and greet them and lick the genitals, and that's actually a sign of finding out who's who, as well as the sounds. And they actually found if a dominant adult, sorry, I keep saying adult, a dominant animal was put in the enclosure and they hadn't been through the exercise, but a subordinate animal had been, then for that period they actually allowed the subordinate animal to show them what to do and to take the lead. And that is actually quite amazing. The fact that they would actually be led by the subordinate if they've actually found out how to do it. They'll be led by the subordinate to actually complete the task. And that really is quite incredible. And I think the same would be said for the hyenas in the wild. I think if an individual works out how to do something, I think the more dominant animals will probably stand and watch and learn. And I think that's one of the reasons why spotted hyenas are so successful, and I think we don't give them that much credit. People think that they mangy scavengers and flea-bitten, and obviously just the look of them a lot of people don't like. But they're able to go and hunt together collectively, they're able to forage alone, they're very, very successful. I think it took, on the first time out, I think it took them 2 minutes to work it out. It was very, very quick.
Or if you don't want to speak loud, you can just talk closer to the mic.
I thought that's what I was doing.